The day began like any other on Station Veritas, a remote outpost orbiting the vibrant gas giant of Helion Prime. Yet even as the artificial suns lit the corridors with their pale orange glow, there was a tension in the air. Something was coming, a shift that no one could have predicted. I had been assigned to security detail, monitoring supply routes and protecting visiting dignitaries. It was a job I had done countless times, one that rarely demanded heroics and even more rarely demanded bravery beyond pressing a few buttons and calling reinforcements. That was until the day the alien princess's child, a tiny being of silver-tinted skin and violet eyes, literally ran into my arms. I was stationed near the docking bay when it happened. The alarms had not sounded yet, but the rush of panicked footsteps was unmistakable. At first, I assumed it was a miscommunication between crews or a technical malfunction. But when the small figure came barreling toward me, dodging adult guards and drones alike, I knew instinctively that this was something far beyond ordinary chaos. "Wait. Stop." A commanding voice echoed behind me, heavy with authority and panic. The voice was familiar, Queen Auralia, the mother of the child, whose presence had always commanded the attention of the room even without words. Her flowing robes shimmered with light-sensitive threads that danced with every movement, and her eyes glowed a deep golden hue, betraying the immense power she wielded over her court. But the child, my God, the child, ignored her, flinging itself into my protective embrace as though instinct knew me better than the queen herself. Why him?" Queen Auralia whispered, her voice trembling with disbelief. Her advisors froze mid-step. The child clutched my arm, tiny hands gripping the fabric of my uniform, and for a moment, the chaos of the station seemed to disappear. I had no idea who I was, not really. In the grand scheme of the Aurelian royal hierarchy, I was just a human, a foreigner who had been assigned to guard alien dignitaries occasionally, never expecting to be the center of anything other than minor protocol errors. Yet here I was, holding the child who had just defied one of the most powerful queens in known space. Chapter 1. The Unlikely Protector. The child's name was Lyra, though I would learn it in bits and pieces over the next few hours. She was only 5 cycles old, a fragile age for a species capable of hundreds of years. Despite her small size, there was an aura of authority that surrounded her. Perhaps it was genetic, or perhaps it was something I couldn't explain, a connection that even the queen herself could not anticipate. "What do you mean she ran to me?" Captain Wren, my commanding officer, asked, approaching with urgency. I thought we had every possible precaution in place. I shrugged helplessly, still holding Lyra as she clung tightly to me. She just ran. Straight to me. Didn't stop for anyone, didn't obey the queen. Just ran. Wren's brow furrowed. That's impossible. Nothing like that has ever happened before. Lyra is, well, she's special, but even special doesn't mean. Shoo, I said, instinctively lowering my voice. The child had started humming softly, a strange, melodic vibration that seemed to resonate with the air itself. It wasn't threatening, it was calming. The sound penetrated my chest in a way I couldn't describe, and I realized she was assessing me. Judging me, perhaps, in ways her small mind could already understand. Queen Auralia stepped forward, her golden eyes narrowing as she studied us. "Human," she said slowly, her tone measured but sharp, "explain why you are holding my daughter." I swallowed. She ran to me. I don't know. I acted. The queen's gaze hardened. Lyra is never to be placed in danger. She is. Her sentence broke off as Lyra looked up at me, violet eyes wide, and smiled. That single gesture seemed to freeze the queen in place. "She trusts you," I said before I could stop myself. The words slipped out unintentionally, and the room seemed to still around us. A gasp escaped one of the advisors. "That's impossible. No human has ever." "I don't know why," I admitted, still cradling the child. "I just reacted. She needed someone." Chapter 2. The threat emerges. The first sign of trouble came from the station monitors. Red blips appeared, indicating unauthorized movement in the docking corridors. Drones scrambled into flight patterns, and security protocols activated with a harsh mechanical whine. "Someone's coming," I muttered, pressing Lyra closer to my chest. She stiffened for a moment but then relaxed, placing her tiny hand on my shoulder. Queen Auralia's voice was sharp. Evacuate the child. Now. I shook my head. I can't. She's safe with me. Whoever this is, they'll have to go through me first. The Queen's mouth opened but no words came. Even she seemed shocked by my resolve. Lyra's hand tightened slightly as though affirming my decision. Minutes later, the corridor erupted with light and sound. Figures in dark armor stormed in, their movement precise, almost robotic. They were not Aurelian soldiers. These were mercenaries, or worse. Human move. Ren shouted. But I didn't. I couldn't. Lyra was here, and the Queen herself had not been able to stop this. The child had chosen me. The first attacker lunged, and I reacted instinctively, sidestepping and using my shoulder to push them back. Lyra screamed, a sharp, high-pitched sound, and for a moment I panicked. But then something incredible happened. The air around her seemed to shimmer, and the attackers froze in place, caught mid-stride as though an invisible force held them. I blinked. Lyra, what did you just? The child's violet eyes were fixed on me, and I realized she was not only frightened but actively protecting me. Somehow she was controlling something. Energy? Force? I had no idea, but it worked. The mercenaries stumbled back as though invisible hands shoved them away, retreating slowly. Queen Auralia's mouth fell open. Impossible, no human has ever. I shook my head, glancing down at the child. It's okay. You're safe. Lyra's small hand pressed against my chest, and I realized that at that moment, in the middle of chaos, a bond had formed that went beyond species. She trusted me. Chapter 3: Escape and Revelation. The next hours were a blur. We navigated the station through emergency corridors, avoiding security drones that had gone haywire and the mercenaries that still pursued us. At each turn, Lyra's ability seemed to guide us. Barriers formed when we needed cover, alarms were disabled before they could sound, and at one point, a bulkhead opened as if recognizing her presence. Finally, we reached a secure observation deck overlooking Helion Prime. The gas giant swirled in vibrant colors beneath us, a stark contrast to the dark chaos we had just escaped. Lyra clung to me, breathing rapidly but unharmed. Queen Auralia arrived moments later, moving silently with her retinue. She stopped a few paces away, her expression unreadable. She survived, I said quietly, still holding the child. And she helped me. The Queen's eyes softened slightly as she studied her daughter. I have never seen this before, she admitted, her voice low. Not even my most trusted advisors. Never. Lyra chose you. I swallowed. Chose me? Yes, she said firmly. And now you will answer to her. I blinked. Answer? To her? The Queen's gaze was steady. Yes. You protected her. You acted without hesitation. In Aurelians, the one who protects the child of the royal line gains a bond. A lifelong bond. I glanced down at Lyra. She smiled up at me, small and radiant. In that moment I understood. This was more than survival. This was a connection that even the Queen herself could not control. Chapter 4: The Bond. Days passed and the station slowly returned to normal. The mercenary threat had been neutralized, but the story of Lyra running to me spread quickly. Whispered conversations filled the corridors. The human, the protector, the one the princess trusts. Even Queen Auralia had come to study our interactions. She observed silently as I fed Lyra, taught her basic human games, and helped her learn aspects of her own abilities. The child's violet eyes sparkled with trust, and I realized that no force in the galaxy could replace the bond that had formed. One evening the Queen approached me privately. Human, she said softly, you have earned my respect. Few have ever protected Lyra, and fewer still without hesitation. I just did what anyone would do, I replied humbly. Perhaps, she said, a faint smile tugging at her lips, but few humans have been capable of it. You have changed her, and in doing so, changed the future of our people. I nodded. I just want her safe. You have her trust, the Queen said, and that is the rarest gift of all. Lyra ran up to us, clutching my hand. Her smile was bright, innocent, yet full of power. Even the Queen stepped back slightly, awestruck. At that moment, I realized the truth. I had not only saved a child, I had been entrusted with something far greater than medals, accolades, or honors. I had been entrusted with a life, a future, and a bond that transcended worlds. And as the twin suns of Helion Prime sat behind the station, casting long shadows across the deck, I knew one thing for certain. Nothing would ever be the same again.